To read Back to Reality, the best-selling novel of the Bestseller Experiment by the two Marks, go to bestsellerexperiment.com/Back to Reality.
And subscribe to this podcast to get loads of extra bonuses. Go to bestsellerexperiment.com/subscribe. Let's run the show. Hello and welcome to the Bestseller Experiment, where we continue to discover what makes a bestseller and inspire you to start, finish, and publish your book. I'm Mark
And
DeVoe.
I am Mark Stay. And a big thank you to our sponsor, Pro Writing Aid, the official editing software of the Bestseller Experiment. Pro Writing Aid is so much more than just a grammar checker. It's a style editor and writing mentor all in one package. And what's more, Pro Writing Aid integrates with Scrivener, Word, Google Docs, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, OpenOffice, and Outlook. It's designed for the smarter writer, which is all you lot. And as a listener of the Bestseller Experiment, you can get a whopping 20% off right now. Get your discount today at prowritingaid.com/bestseller. Happy New Year to you, Mr. D, and Happy New Year to everyone. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yes, Happy New Year to everyone. This is our live show of the month. It's January 2020. We made it. We got through 2019 and here we are. Welcome to this new decade and welcome to everyone who has joined us in the studio live today. It's like a madhouse. They're all having a party. I'm just seeing this scrolling list of people chatting with each other. But we're going to say quick hello, shout out to some of the folks with us today. Angela, Bob, Shell, Darius, Darren, Frank, Jack, Jan, Kerry, Laura, Liam, Paul, Neil, Rosemary, Robin, Simon, Sage, Tamara, welcome. You are all very welcome. It's great. We've got some first timers in today, and everyone who's with us today is part of our BXP team, is part of the people that support this podcast. And thank you to everyone who has done that. Thank you to everyone who's actually been supporting the podcast just over Christmas. We got a couple of Christmas presents, didn't we, Mark?
Did you? I didn't. What?
Well, no, in terms of... No, I didn't get any Christmas presents. I just got coal in my stocking. But I was thinking...
What?
I was thinking, not from our listeners, but people supporting the podcast.
Oh, yes. We've got some wonderful new patrons. In fact, we'll give them a shout out. Let's give them a shout out. Emanuela Deconor, Aggie Bloom Thompson, Amy Vaughan Spencer, Naomi Floyd, Francis Bosco, me, V, and Stephen Mellor. You are all wonderful gods and goddesses, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And I'm just laughing because Laura in the studio, whose first time, welcome Laura, she said, I didn't realise you did the sponsorship live every time. My mind is already blown. I thought it was pre-recorded. No, this is all live. This what you hear is what you get.
Very much so.
Absolutely. But welcome everyone. We are absolutely buzzed today, Mark, aren't we? I don't think I've got to say, I was almost as excited as the day that we released Back to Reality, the novel, today, because of what's been going on over Christmas. Or even more so. I think I might even be more excited.
Yeah, this last week especially has been crazy town. Absolutely crazy town. I've struggled to keep up with the social media. It's been amazing. Absolutely amazing. And what are we talking about, listeners? What are we babbling on about? We're talking about nothing other than the BXP 2020 challenge. So if you want 2020 to be your best writing year ever, you want to write and finish a book, you want to create a lifetime writing habit, it's all happening with the BXP 2020 challenge. That the plan is simply just write 200 words a day minimum. That's all you need to do. Log your words every day, bank those words away, and you will create that habit. And this all started with you, isn't it, Mr. D? You were struggling with your writing, weren't you?
I do take full responsibility for everyone who's cursing me at this moment, especially the people who are at 5 to 12, the 5 to 12 crew, or maybe quarter to 12 crew, quarter to midnight crew, we should call them. These are my people, Mark. These are my people, because I'm absolutely done. I'm done. I've had the craziest day. I'm getting into bed at quarter to 12 and I go, you know what? I haven't done my words today. And that's when I get my laptop out sometimes and I write my 200 words before that midnight deadline. So the deal is, if you're going to do this, you've got until that witching hour to get your 200 words done. And I tell you what, it works. And this all started going back mid last year. I was getting really fed up with the fact that I just could not build this routine. We've been doing this podcast for 3 years. We know, we've heard it over and over, write every day. And I couldn't do it. And I decided to try this idea out with 200 words. Anyway, it's now magnified into this project. just to give people a bit of an idea, if you've no idea what's going on, if it's the first time you've heard about it, firstly, you need to get over to bxp2020.com, which is where you can register. Now, yes, it's after the 1st of January, but you can register. If you get there before the middle of the month, you can register for February, okay? And you can start practicing in the run-up to the beginning of next month. If you are hearing this before the middle of the month, get over, register, because you'll probably end up doing the word count, the 200 words a day on average, based on what we're currently seeing, because we have this kind of like really cool kind of backstage pass to seeing what's actually going on and what people are actually submitting in terms of their word count. And I talk about mind blown. We did a test run with about 30 people back in October to see whether this was a viable thing that we wanted to launch. And it was so incredible. But what we saw is people were averaging 400 words a day, even though we'd set the target at 200. What we're seeing right now, folks, this is a big reveal. We are seeing an average of around 600 words a day. So it's actually blown my mind. It's 3 times now. Now, that doesn't mean you have to try and hit the average, but I just want people to know that if you get into this, the deal is once you start writing, it's actually quite hard to stop. So you might find yourself writing way more than 200. Now, 200 words a day, Mark, what does that equal in a year?
73,000 words. And I've said that so many times, I've actually memorized it now. I'm not good at maths or anything, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is a published novel. It's a published full-length novel. Yep. So you'll have your first draft, boom, there you've got it. But what it's doing, it's creating that habit. It's about showing up. And once you show up and you do those 200 words, you're like, well, I'll do 200 more. You know, it's about keeping that going. Robin's got a question. I think it's about banking the words. She says, does it know my time zone? Because I occasionally update after midnight. It's like Gremlins, Robin. You're not allowed to do it after midnight. God knows what happened if you do that.
Do you know what? There's not a rocket science to it. It gets logged basically at a certain time each day, and if you're logging it slightly after midnight, then it's okay. What you want to make sure you do is on your own word count log. So what we're saying to everyone right now, obviously, this is in a beta or beta version right now, the project. So we're doing this just to see what happens, and we're not planning specific things. So we're saying to people, log your own word count, keep track of it locally as well, so that you can see where you're at in terms of the month's totals and the like. But yeah, ideally you do want to get it. We've not got a strict deadline of the 12 in terms of submitting. Some people forgot to submit the day before, and we've said just submit both of them as individual amounts the next day. We just need to get them logged. That's the most important thing for this stage of the experiment. What's really important though is you keep a track locally as well, so you can kind of see how you're progressing, see what your average word count is, because it's kind of mind-blowing. They say until something's measured, you can't really fully understand it, and this is partly what we're doing here. We're learning about how we all individually approach this. It's going to be unique for everyone, but really what I'm seeing so far is just Bob
has a question. Can we see our own results cumulatively anywhere? I'm guessing that's apart from your Word document or Scrivener document, which will track that for you. You can ask it to do that. But we don't have that technology yet, do we? We're not NaNoWriMo, are we? No.
We don't. No, NaNoWriMo have a budget of about 1.8, I think 1.5 million a year through all their donations. We have 140 Patreon subscribers right now. We need to get to 500 just for the podcast to break that even. So yeah, if you would like to see some of these amazing features, then absolutely come and support the podcast. We'll be using a lot of that budget to try and develop some technology for you, but no promises yet. But things will be changing.
Richard says, sure. I'm making use of Sage's Excel for my tracking. Now, Sage of this parish, she put a thing up in the BXP group, a little Excel tracker that you could use to track your words. So if you are in the BXP group, Sage, if you can put it up again for us, just as a link later tonight or tomorrow, then people can download it from the BXP group. So that's another exclusive for the BXPers. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Sage.
Yeah, and thank you to Sage for doing that. We have in the background been developing, just so Sage has realised this, we've been developing for a number of months, a word count spreadsheet. So there'll be something of that ilk coming out down the road. But again, the fact that Sage jumped in there and has got something for people on day one is absolutely brilliant. Another question that we've had for people that have actually, so people might say, how does this work? What do you mean logging your word count? What we've created is something called the Bestseller Experiment Word Bank. It's a bit of a play on World Bank. But in this bank, you actually get guaranteed interest, right? Every time you write words, you are developing your own writing career, and something will happen at the end of it. If it's a book, if it's a published book, if it's a lifetime dream that you meet, you're going to get guaranteed interest. So we have created this thing called the Word Bank. And what it simply is it's a sheet that you go to each day online on our website. And actually you can get to it from the front page of our website. Now we've got a new BXP 2020 link on our navigation. You can access the FAQ, you can access how to register, and you can access where to put your word count. And it literally is a sheet where you fill out your email address, and you put in your word count for that day, and it gets logged by us. So we're your accountability partner in essence. You come to the website each day and log your count, and that partly helps create the habit as well, because you know every time that you log your word count, you're contributing towards our target, our grand, what we call the BXP Community Challenge of 1 billion words. This is what we're going for. It's completely bonkers. And when we came up with that figure, I thought, maybe we're just being a little bit too ambitious here. But I've got to say, we were talking before Christmas that we had a pledged word count for the year of around, it was about 15 million, then it went up to 20.
It's 20 million just before Christmas.
20 million, wasn't it? Okay. I should have got you ready with your George Harrison drum roll. Ringo Starr, I should say. God, I don't even know my blooming Beatles. That's how excited I am. So you see, look at that. So Mark's wearing the t-shirt. So the actual pledged word count. So this is if everyone keeps up with what they're currently doing at the moment. At the current number of people who've got registered, the pledged word count is ready for this, Mark. I don't know if I can read this number. It's so big. 118 million. 527,703
and three. That
we rely on you, Mr. Stafer. Those three. You're welcome. Is 118.5 million pledged words, which is nearly 12% of our 1 billion target already. And we know that people are registering to sign up every single day. So anyway, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to hit 1 billion in 2020, but if we get close to 118 million, that in number of books alone, Mark, if you work that out in terms of number of books, that's utterly bonkers.
There's at least 1,000 bestsellers in that, surely.
Absolutely, yeah, just bestsellers, right? Let alone published novels. So this is what we want to see, folks. We want to see you finish your books this year. For some people writing 600 words a day, they might be able to finish 3 books. There are people who are putting in word count. I mean, stuff that I'm blown away at. So we just want to encourage everyone, keep it going, because this is about building a habit, and a habit takes time. It does not take 21 days. Please, if you've read that statistic anywhere, read behind the science of where that came from. That is not scientifically proven. A habit is however long it takes you individually. And we're talking about everyone with us today: Simon, Sage, Paul, Neil, Tamara, Tom. Welcome, Tom. He's joined us. Kerry, Josh, everyone. It's how long it takes you to develop it. Some people it might take 7 days. Other people it might take 3 months. But the point is, if you do it long enough, the habit will become part of your life, and you'll no longer have to think about doing your word count. It'll be just something that you do. So we want to encourage everyone.
Absolutely.
One question I've seen, somebody asked earlier on, sorry, I'm scrolling back through questions. Somebody asked, what does edit your response mean? So when you go to the word bank and you find the form where you put your word count in, once you've submitted it, there is a link that says edit your response. What that basically means is if you accidentally put an extra 0 on the end of your word count, you've done 2,000 words instead of 200. If you click on edit your response, you can actually go back and change the word count. So it's just literally a second chance for you just to make sure that you did actually enter the right amount, because obviously you want these figures to be accurate. So that's been introduced this week. So I hope that makes sense.
More people are tracking their words in different ways. Say, so she's tracking logging in 4 separate ways: 1 on the website, 2 on the spreadsheet, 3 with a buddy, Robin, and 4 in a bullet journal. So, that's a lot of logging going on there, Sage. So, can't miss out there. I mean, we're both doing this, aren't we? I've seen your name pop up a couple of times. A big question that comes up, people saying, "Oh, I'm in an edit. Does that count? Can I?" And of course, absolutely, you can. I mean, I'm just to double down on that. I'm editing a screenplay. So I'm actually cutting a lot. So I'm writing for 2 hours each morning. So I'm using, funnily enough, I am using software that doesn't track my word count at all. I'm using Slugline, which, it's just words on a page. So I'm guesstimating my word count, and it's usually only 200, because I'm cutting a lot, because I'm in that stage where I've got notes from my director and he's saying, get rid of that, got to lose 10 pages from the script. But I'm there, I'm showing up, I'm writing, I'm cutting and adding little bits as well. So, but the edit thing, absolutely. And there are, certainly in Scrivener, there's a way of setting it so it will show you just the new words you've done that day. I'm pretty sure Word can do this as well. Any word processor should be able to do it. So yeah, just absolutely if you're editing.
There's even sites, actually, I found, Mark, where you can just cut and paste the words that you've created and you paste them into a form online and press a button and it counts the words for you. So there's loads of different ways. There's no excuses for anyone not counting the words. Angela says, I use a notebook to track words. I think that's absolutely brilliant because, that's not going to run out of batteries anytime soon. So I think that's a great way of doing it. I personally like to keep a Google Sheet. I use a Google Sheet to track my word count. And I find the process of logging it on there and then going to the site and logging it on the site helps me remember to log it, with the BXP total. So I think there's many different ways of doing it. I know somebody, and again, this is a very archaic way of doing it, but it works. They're handwriting their novel. They've averaged the number of words per line. It's typically 8 to 10, depending on how many you write, how big or small your handwriting is. They count the number of lines on the page and they simply count the lines, multiply it up, and that's their word count. So, it's whatever works for you ultimately.
The word police are not going to come around your house, kick your door down and grab you by the scruff of the neck and say, how many words did you log today, sunshine? Because that's not what it's about. It's about creating that habit. The words will turn up if you turn up. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, we all have to remember that with all the lovely technology that we've got, with all the opportunities for graphs and all things, ultimately, the core thing we're doing here is getting in the daily writing habit. Everything else is awesome, but if we're doing that, then that's the currency of what we are as writers. If we don't have words on the page, we're not writers. But if we have words on the page, everything
Josh says that's false. It happened to a cousin's friend, Mark. The word police are brutal. No regulation and oversight. No, I think that's the grammar police. I think you'll find that's the grammar police. Frank says it would be useful if software could track change words rather than total words. But Scrivener can. Scrivener can do it. It's another reason to get on board with the Scriv. So get there. Although, just a little warning, yesterday I was building some research documents, and what I do is I find an article online and I sometimes grab the words and put them in my research folder in Scrivener. And that actually adds to your word count. So I'd done about 500 words last night, and I went to flick to my word count total. It told me I'd written 8,000 words. I was like, it depends where you put the folder. If you keep the folder below the main manuscript, then because I've made that mistake as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Tom has said, sorry if I'm not very communicative. I'm about to drive a 28-foot truck.
What?
Got someone checking in on the live podcast whilst driving.
Can you do that?
A 28-foot truck. That's pretty impressive, Tom.
Yes,
please drive carefully.
On the road. God's sakes.
That's brilliant. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant stuff. So we'd like to ask the people in the studio, and you have been doing this already, which we really appreciate. Ask any questions you want around the BXP 2020 challenge, because we can all learn about this together. I've actually put up, if anyone's interested, if you go to the website under BXP, I've got, hang on, we've got somebody.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, Claire.
What's going on here? For everyone who hasn't seen this on video, we've just had a break-in. It looks like something from the BBC that YouTube video that went around where the little girl walks in whilst we're going live. I believe this is none other than Miss Claire Burgess. Welcome, Claire, to the podcast.
Hello, the other Mark. It's nice to speak to you.
Hello. I've never had the pleasure. This is brilliant.
It's quite weird, isn't it?
Not.
No.
This is fantastic. I tell you what, this is absolutely brilliant. Claire, welcome. This is the first time, I think, we've talked about you've always been a voice or a name.
I'm like Mrs. Mannering,
this is the first time. Mrs. Mannering, yeah. This made up fictional wife that Mark Stay has. That's brilliant. Well, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm sorry, I've got two of you talking to me. One at a time, please.
Right,
I know I'm a woman, but I'm very well, thank you. Yes.
Excellent stuff. And Mark let me into a little secret before we
not that.
before
not
we
that,
came
that's
on
fine.
air.
Darling.
No, not that. He said that you've been doing the challenge. Is that right? The PHP 2020
I
challenge.
have, and I've been really
gosh.
enjoying it.
What on earth? What on earth? I mean, it's one thing having lost Mr. Stay like pretty much half of his life to this podcast, but is this a way in which you can now? I want to know. Do you actually like sit across from a table with laptops doing like
Am I
challenging
allowed to
yourself?
swear on here? No, I'm not allowed.
We get one F-bomb per show.
Have you said it?
No.
Fuck no. No, he's down here in the office. I'm upstairs in our bedroom where I have a desk and I have the computer. So he does his bit and I do my bit. I don't do nagging. Well, actually, I nag a lot, but I do it in such a lovely way.
She doesn't.
But I don't. No, I don't. Oh.
She just convinces me.
But yeah, I mentioned this to Mark because I was thinking, I've always wanted to write a novel. Well, obviously I've written some books, but they're little short ones. But I always wanted to write a novel and never really sort of knew what to do and how to go about it. No. And I kind of needed that extra little push. And I thought, well, sod it. It's like 200 words a day. I'm going to give it a go. It may well absolutely be a load of rubbish when I finished with it, but I'm actually really enjoying it. And I've got over 2,340 something words so far. And I started it. I've never done the 200. I've always done more than 200 words every day.
Perfect.
I think today it was, I don't know, about 400. So
That's amazing. That's absolutely brilliant. So would you say that it's like is that the most words you've written in that? I mean, we're talking only 7 days in. We're the 7th of January when we record this. So this is day 7. Is that the most amount of words that you've written in a 7-day period, would you say?
Most probably, yes. Yes.
Yeah, well, it has been for me as well. That's why I asked the question, because I struggled so much to get word count down. So tell us about what you're writing. Is this something? It's a novel, obviously.
It's a whodunit.
Ooh, right.
I was
nice.
inspired by the film Knives Out. Yeah, I want to go and see that again, and I might have to go and see it and then claim it as research.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Okay. So
absolutely.
So I was just. I've always wanted to write a whodunit, but I never. You were like, is it going to be like the Columbo? Because I used to watch Columbo when I was younger, and there's nobody in this book going, just one more thing, and. Do everybody want to know who did it to start with and then see how they're figuring it out? Or do you want to go along with everybody and find out at the very end and who did it and how they then got found out and all that lot? So I'm having good fun. What I do is we get up at 6 o'clock most mornings, and once Georgia's gone off to school, and I'll go upstairs. 200 words does not take that long to write. It actually takes longer for my computer upstairs to boot up.
She gets my Apple cast off.
I do. So I go up.
Do you get the hand-me-downs,
I
Claire?
do,
That's not. Yeah.
So I go upstairs. I switch the computer and the mouse on. I go to the loo. I get washed. I brush my teeth. I get dressed. And by the time I've done that, then the computer has woken up and is ready to go.
It's ready.
I know how it feels.
Yes. So then I type what I want. I think, okay, right, well, we'll do that, and I don't watch the clock or anything, because I usually go after work at about 8:45, and so it takes about 20, 25. I think this morning I was writing for about half an hour. I think I finished about 8 o'clock. And then I've got lots of other things to do or to get ready to do, like all the boring things like putting the washing on and stuff like that.
I help. I just want to make sure I help.
Give him a list.
I'm here during the day tidying up all this stuff while she's not here. I just want to make that absolutely clear.
Of course you are, Mark. Of course you are.
Do
you know what you said, though, Claire, is so brilliant, because one of the things we've been really, really encouraging people to do, and this is a word you're going to hear a lot this year on the podcast, is the word banking your words. And one of the things that we've discovered is by doing them first thing in the morning, the rest of your day can go completely AWOL. It can go, in all different directions and everything go catastrophic. So things that you don't expect always crop up. But if you've banked those words first thing in the morning before the day's really kind of got going, they're done. And everyone can go to bed that night thinking, you know what, today was a complete washout, apart from my words that I got done. And you can feel good about doing that. And so the fact that you're kind of trying to build that routine in is absolutely
The weekend
fantastic.
is ever so slightly different, though, because my view is you have to have a clear head to be writing. And if you've got all those, especially for me, if you've got all those things, I don't like to waste the day. I don't like to waste any time at all. So I prioritize things. So you get the washing on, you get the dishwasher on, you get all of those annoying tasks out the way. And once they're done on the weekend, and then you do those by about 9:30, 10 o'clock at a weekend, then you sit down. So, a clear house, a clear mind.
Absolutely. Angela actually has just posted up. She says the weekends are the hardest for me. And, again, things like change of routines, school holidays, like over Christmas, everything changes. And that's why this idea of embedding this routine as something that happens every single day means that when those change of routines happens, when the weekends come, when the school holidays come, there's more likely that you can somehow work a way through it. Whereas often what happens is people say, oh, it's the holidays, I'm not going to write over the summer. So I commend you for being able to do that. And obviously with a family, it's much, much different. I did get one message from someone it was brilliant this week. He said, rather than shouting at my son to get ready for school, I did my 200 words. And apparently his son showed up ready for school anyway, so it was a much healthier relationship anyway, and he got his words written. And I think we're saving family lives here with this challenge. So the thing is, it's meant to be so basic and simple. Somebody did it on their commute for the first time the other day. They were writing on their phone. They've never written on their phone. It's all they had. And they thought, I'm never going to do this. But halfway through their journey, they'd hit their 200 words, and they thought, wow, this is absolutely doable. Oh, brilliant. Well, I wish you all the best there. And actually, before you head off, I want to mention, because we talked about this a lot, but I don't think people actually really know all the books that you've published out there. So for people who don't know Claire, you see, this is a rich family event. It's like the Kings, isn't it, Mark?
Well,
right? Wife and husband, kids. You're all in it.
We could only
You're all
hope.
writing.
We're
Absolutely.
That
Well,
family.
you never know. Maybe Claire's novel will keep you in.
This is what I'm hoping for.
Manner that
I'm
you're
hoping,
accustomed
Claire,
to. Is that the plan?
You know, sometimes husbands worry that their wives might earn more than them. Not me. Not me. No, I'm happy to be a kept man. Trust me. Yeah, very, very happy. I'm hoping this is going to be a smash hit.
Or was it Josh's wife that started doing the challenge, one of our long-term listeners? And his wife started writing like 8 times his word count or something, and he's been a published author for years. So you never know, Claire, what happened here. You'll have to keep us up to date.
I was on IMDb before he was.
Oh, you have to bring that up again.
And I was published before he was. But we
it's
do
all coming
love
out
each
now.
other, don't we, darling?
I'm not bitter.
So for people that want to check out Claire's work, Claire has got a children's series called The Lottie and Dottie, which is a children's book. Absolutely brilliant. I've seen the illustrations for it as well. There they are. 3 of those. So if you've got kids, go to Amazon and check those out. And also, if you don't know about Claire's background, she is a phenomenal gardener. She's got a YouTube channel called Claire's Allotment, which has a rather large following, and you've been doing that for a long time. Loads of videos up there. So check out Claire's Allotment on YouTube, but also you've released some gardening books under the name Claire Burgess.
Yes, because Claire Burgess is my maiden name. It's my professional name.
Fantastic.
My professional name.
So if you want some inspiration, and it's a good time of year to start looking at those tomato plants. I think there's a book on growing tomatoes, isn't there?
Yes.
So check out Claire Burgess's books, and I believe there's some more of those coming in this year. Is that right?
Well, we're getting an omnibus
possibly,
altogether.
Yeah.
So
Omnibus.
yes.
I think
That's a bit of a milestone, isn't it?
clever omnibus.
Yes.
It's brilliant. Oh, it's so good to meet you. Thank you so much for dropping in, Claire, and bringing I see you bought Mark a cuppa.
No, that's
no,
me.
that's hers.
That's mine. Look,
Yeah.
it's magic
Oh,
roundabout.
that's good. I feel better
See?
now.
Yeah,
That's excellent
But
stuff.
what I do is when I'm working in people's gardens the following day, I'll be weeding away, going, now what can I do next? Oh yeah, we can have that bit in the book next, and who's going to get back there?
right.
Okay, right, yeah. And so it's all going through my brain, and then when I come to write it the following morning, it's just there, you know.
Yeah, and that's actually part of it. People that start writing every day, what it actually does is it's a continuation of the story in your head whilst you're not writing, so that when you come back to write the next day, your subconscious is already developing the story. And I bet you there could be a buried body from an allotment happening at some point in your book, or possibly something with a spade, or
What have you told
some
him?
other gardening utensil. Maybe.
Do you know what Mark
So I don't wanna do any
wanted me to
spoilers.
write? Was it last summer or something? Last autumn? You said if you were to kill somebody on an allotment, how would you do it? So I wrote it whilst I was having lunch where I used to work.
This is where it started, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was.
Yeah.
And I took it, brought it home, gave it to him, and I said, "Well, that's how I would kill somebody on a. I'm not going to kill
Be
anybody
afraid.
on a allotment.
Be very afraid.
But honestly, you know what? Having read that, I don't want to meet me on a dark night,
No. It's not
especially
not in the
down at the allotment.
right?
No.
Killer chickens. Brilliant stuff.
I will love you and leave
Oh,
you.
well, thank you so much
You're
for dropping
very
in, Claire.
welcome.
And maybe you drop in throughout the year and let us know how you're getting on with your work out and your book.
Will do.
I'd love
Excellent.
that.
Lovely.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Back to the kitchen wall.
Well,
Yes,
what
yes.
a surprise.
Where'd you put those?
We can officially say, Mark, that we've now been gate crashed by both partners.
Yeah.
That's not something many podcasts can say.
Right, there you go. Lovely. Right.
That's excellent. Oh, that was lovely. Absolutely brilliant. My goodness me! So you've even got Claire in on the act.
Yeah,
Mark. It's a family affair, isn't it? Like we've got.
I mean, we've been, like I said, she's been mulling over this idea for absolutely ages. And I think, like a lot of people, she thought, oh, I either have to take a month off work or do something like NaNoWriMo where it takes up every spare minute. And I said, we got this new thing. And I said, it works for Mr. D. I said, you just do 200 words a day. And her little face lit up. And she was like, actually, I can do that. And the thing is, as you heard, she knew exactly the time of day when she could fit it in. I got told off the first day because we woke up breakfast, and I'm usually the first one to write, and I come out all smug and I'm like, have you done your 200 words? And she said, don't nag me. She was like, do not nag me. I know when I'm doing this. No, leave me to it. So, and she's been great. She's been smashing that target every day. So yeah, it's all cool.
It's fantastic stuff. It's fantastic. And one thing I was going to mention as well, we've got. I was just scrolling through the questions here. We've had more people join us. So welcome to Josh. Welcome to Craig. This is a very busy time of year. Actually, everyone's thinking about their goals. And I want to ask our BXP team here, the people in the studio. Besides BXP 2020, what would you say is your major goal this year in terms of your writing? What would be your biggest dream goal? So I'm interested in the big stuff. I want to know where you think this might potentially go if you manage to keep up your writing. So let's have a bit of blue sky visionary stuff. And we'll shout some of those out. So pop those in. We've already had Laura and Angela both say get an agent. Robin says publish 8 books. I mean, it's doable. We've seen Shannon do 12, is it, that she did a year?
Well, if you want to hear more from Robin and Sage, they're going to be on a deep dive very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. Going to be talking about that. So yeah.
Fantastic. What would you say, Mark, is your big goal this year?
Well,
I know you've got
I had a number of goals for 2019, none of which I achieved. But, it's all about showing up and making progress down that particular road. But it's very simple for me this year. I want to get Witches of Woodville published one way or another. So if it's going out to publishers in the next few weeks, if one of them picks it up, it might take 13, 18 months for it to be published, but it'd be nice to get a deal next year. Or if I don't get a deal, I'll self-publish. So one way or another, that book is coming out. And I've got a TV show on the go. It's kind of out of my hands, but it would be nice to get some progress on that. I've optioned a children's book. I'm hoping to get that optioned by a TV company as well. And the thing I've been working on this last week or so are rewrites of a horror script. So I got 4 big projects on the go. And if any one of those can kick off, I will be a very happy bunny by the end of the year. But also the BXP 2020 challenge is, I want to see, it's out of my hands again, but I want to see our listeners smash it and get books published, because, like you say, this is the most exciting thing we've done. It's better than our first year, I think. It's just this last week has been absolutely crazy. People have really, really latched onto this idea. But anyway, how about you, Mr. D? What's your big wish list?
Well, I mean, from a podcast perspective, I want to see the BXP 2020 challenge hit that 1 billion. And I won't sleep until it happens. So you might have a very tired podcast partner. But I really do want to see that happen, because we set these ridiculously crazy, large, stupid goals. Partly to prove a point. But when you do it, it sometimes happens. Yeah. And this is how I've lived my life. It's like, well, we could have said 50 million, but we'd have already, we're almost, this is a crazy thing. We're almost on our way to getting 1 million words banked in the first week of this challenge. 1 million words. And if you had told me that in the first week that's what we'd be doing, I would have been lying if I said, yeah, of course we'll do that. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. But the reason we'd set these ridiculously high goals is it's that classic analogy, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you still land on the stars, right? So what we're trying to do here is we're all trying to teach this practice as writers. You've got to have a dream goal. You've got to have something crazy that will get you out of bed in the morning and think, if that one day happened, like you're saying, any one of those 4 landing for you, Mark, could potentially change your life.
Robin says that analogy doesn't fit the science. I think it's if you shoot for the stars, you land on the moon. Maybe. Who cares?
Who blooming cares? Asteroid belt. Absolutely. Yeah. I chuck out all kinds of analogies that are scientifically complete rubbish. The point is that when we do have that one big dream that we're going for, at least one big dream, and then get on with the day-to-day work, but have that big dream, the thing that gets you out of bed, that kind of lottery ticket discussion, like, if I won the lottery, what would I do? Because unless you imagine it first in your head, it will never happen in reality, typically. You have to create, everything around us is created through thought to begin with. So the thought that we could write 73,000 words in a year allows that possibility to potentially happen. And then giving people the technique, the way to do that, the 200 words a day, makes it real. So you have to join the two together, right? You have to join the dream with the
So our listeners in the live show today, Neil wants to publish 4 books tomorrow, wants to finish 3 books and publish them. Liam says, is world domination taking it too far? There's a lot of competition for that at the moment, Liam. So good luck with that. Craig says, I'm going to release 3.
Might have to take a ticket. I'm going to
release 3 books in 2020. Sage, dream goal, make a smash hit of the Kay Bellingham, the Itty Bitty Indie Experiment. Again, that'll be on a deep dive soon. Jack says to finish the trilogy I'm working on. Josh says I'm publishing 2 novels and a short story anthology. Barb says I will publish 3 novellas, 2 of which are written, plus a small book on retirement transition and lots of travel. Nice one, Barb. Frank Bosco says, I'm good with 73,000 words. Good for you, Frank. Shell says, self-pub one of my non-fiction books and get an agent for the rest. Josh says he's publishing a short story a week on Patreon. That's 52 stories. Wow, Josh, good luck with that. It's amazing. It's all good. We've got some great ambitions there. Josh also adds his wife wants to publish 3 books. Josh, at the rate she's going, she's going to be doing 52 books in a year. So, it's fantastic.
I think it's great, and we just had about 20 public declarations there. Mark. People don't realise when they type stuff in live, it goes out live on the podcast, and it then becomes imprinted in the laws of bestseller experiments. So, good luck to every single person that's got those incredible goals. And if you don't have your goals, if you're listening to this right now, if you're driving the car, pull over, please. Pull over. Don't start doing that texting thing whilst you're driving. Pull over. But if you're at home, right now, this second, pause the podcast. Obviously, you can't do this on the live show, and that's one of the unfortunate side effects of coming in live. But pause the podcast right this second and go and get yourself a piece of paper, your phone, something you're not going to lose. Don't put it on a yellow sticky. They always end up down the back of the sofa or the desk. And write down your dream goal. Write down your dream goal, take a photo of it, and send it to us. If you want us to publish it, send a photo of us on our Facebook page, on Twitter, or you can email it to us by going to bestsellerexperiment.com and clicking on the contact form. We want images of something that represents your goal, either in words, or you can be a bit inventive with, if you like. You can maybe do something which is interpretive dance, maybe, whatever you want. But I want to see those goals because, one of the things we keep banging on about in the podcast is a goal is much more likely to become a reality when you share it with people. Too many writers, and it's more so in writers, I think, than in any other profession in the world, are very, very much hold back in sharing their goals because they don't want to put themselves out there and fail. But the irony is that unless we share it with people, there's less chance of it ever happening. So share it with us. We'll keep it a secret, just you, me and Mark, and the hundreds of thousands of listeners that we have. But we'll all keep it a secret in the writing community. And then we'll be the ones to be able to cheer you on when that book gets finished, gets published, becomes a Netflix series, whatever's going to happen with it ultimately. And we're going to be able to go all the way back to say this show. I mean, look at this list, Mark, that we've just had here. Who on this list right now, who on this list of our people in the audience is going to be the person that might get a Netflix series based on what they're working on?
Me. Oh, you mean of the listeners, right? Okay. Well, who knows?
It could be any one of those. So the point is, unless you write and finish the book, you'll never, ever know. So best of luck to everyone who's got their dream, and may this year and decade be the year and the decade that it happens for you. Shall we?
We got some great tips on the BXP team from some of our listeners about, for succeeding in the 2020 challenge. Shall we go through some of these and get the conversation going? There's a load of them. I don't think we're going to get through all of them tonight, but some really, really interesting ones. Laura Bradbury says, if you get stuck, just turn your focus from writing a story to just getting as many words on the page in a certain amount of time. So the Pomodoro technique, as we've talked about, set an alarm for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Doesn't matter if it's gibberish, just try not to lift your fingers off the keyboard or pen from the page. It's amazing what no pressure timed writing sprints can get unstuck. Also, some great ideas come from them sometimes. Laura also adds, if I'm working on a book, I do a mock-up of the cover. It can simply be a photo that you find evocative, and I look at it when I find my motivation flagging, brain hacking. You've done that, haven't you, Mr. D? Done the cover thing.
I always do it. Like, I've got one here. Did you see that one there? For anyone, that was the first one I ever did. I went to Fiverr and I paid someone $5, and it has all the classic stuff on it. Like, at the top of at the top it says #1 New York Times bestseller. Right? So, it's just stick it in. That's the name of the book, Start From Your Heart. And the tagline is how to change your life and the world from the inside out. So I know what this book's going to be. I just have to finish it.
Yeah.
The other 20. But that's sat there just every single day. I see it every time I do any call, or it's in the background of every single podcast. And eventually I'm going to post the picture of it, probably even that cover, because I've become really attached to it. For $5, you can't go wrong, really. And stick it on Amazon. Absolutely. So I recommend, it's about the visualization of seeing the finished product, imagining it finished before you start.
Abigail says, if the words aren't coming, do something else creative, like going on an artist's date, taking a camera out on a walk, doodling, knitting, baking. Something will click into place and you'll go back to your work in progress with new energy. It's a lot like Claire was saying, because, her day job, she's a gardener. And, it's one of those jobs that allows you to think, allows you to, to have the brain going on the back. Yeah. I find going for walks does that for me as well. It's a great, great problem solver. Anything gets the blood flowing, basically.
Absolutely. Julian Andrews says, this isn't for everyone, but if you're working on more than one thing at a time, it can help to get in the flow. Your subconscious mind works on one thing while the conscious mind works on another. Actually, that's linked to what you just talked about. If you're gardening, your conscious mind's focusing on what you're actually doing, but your subconscious mind is developing the stories or getting ideas at the same time. It says it works best if the projects are at different stages. That's interesting. I'm doing a light rewrite on Gears of Magic to enrich certain aspects and drafting Ashes of Olympus 3 from scratch. So that's again, I think starting 2 novels, in the same week, that's probably not a great idea, because
trust me, that's a road to madness. I've been there. But if you have it at different stages, I like that. I like to be at the beginning of something, at the edit of something else, and in the middle of something else, so you can shake it up and switch between them.
Absolutely. Now, Mark Hood, one of our
this is an essay, isn't it? This is a proper
brilliant. Yeah. He wrote a book. He wrote his 200 words and then some on this post. But let's summarize quickly. I'll do the odds, you do the evens, Mark. set a time when I definitely write, whether it's an hour, 20 minutes or half a day. Putting my butt in the chair with the intention goes a long way. Setting a timer can help focus the mind. As some others have suggested, I'm not allowed to do anything else in that time. And that is so, so crucial. You've got to be, because otherwise, that the 200 words, it could take an hour if you're jumping onto the internet, checking your text. It's got to be start to finish, uninterrupted as best you can, and you will get it done and banked. So
which brings us to point 2, turn off notifications and distractions. I silence my phone and computer. Almost all have a do not disturb mode. If you can't resist checking Twitter or Facebook, look into a blocking app to protect you from your own impulses. I tell family that I need to be undisturbed. Absolutely true. I do that too. So shut that door.
Mark says also have a ritual or routine. It ties into the first 2 points, but he sits down with his beverage of choice and turns off everything, and the brain associates this routine with it's writing time. So you literally have a writing cat. I put it on.
Brilliant.
I love that. I put it on and it helps remind me of what I'm doing. Actually, there's an idea, BXP merch.
Yeah, we should, shouldn't we? Oh, baseball caps,
hell, Mark.
Or like a stovepipe hat. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the kids are all wearing stovepipe hats, aren't they?
And a pipe.
Yeah.
And a pipe. So he says it literally helps him remind him of what he's doing. And it also, this is really cool, it acts as a visual interpretation. People know when he's got that cap on that he's writing and don't disturb him, which is what you used to do at work, Mark. You used to put headphones on, I think.
Yeah, well, so I did have to resort to putting a Post-it note on the cup of the headphones saying, I'm writing, do not disturb me. But yeah, people got the message in the end after I shouted at them a few times.
Yep. And then he says that and the scent of Earl Grey tea cue me into knowing it's time to write. So remember the power of all the senses here. The smell of cut grass reminds you of some childhood memory, a song that comes on that reminds you of something your first date or whatever. Don't underestimate the power of what we call in coaching, we call it anchoring. So Mark's being anchored by that smell of Earl Grey to go, right, I'm going to write now. And the more of that you do, the stronger the anchor becomes. And literally every time he has a cup of Earl Grey in the future, he'll want to start writing, even if he's not planning to.
Number 4, he works best with white noise. Rain sounds and distant thunder suit my current work in progress, but you can find apps that do any kind of ambient soundscapes to block the sound of the washing machine and what have you. This is absolutely true. He says music doesn't work for me, but some folks swear by it. But yeah, I've gone off music and I'm very much a white noise person now, especially if I'm traveling. I find that really, really helpful.
Brilliant. And the final point he says is if you have somewhere to write, use that place. This is what we call distraction-free writing. It says, if you're using a computer, it's also about the place where you do social stuff, banking, shopping, etc. It's slightly elaborate, but if you have a separate laptop that's not connected to the internet, maybe there are also these little what are they called now? These tiny little typewriters. Someone will remind me that you sometimes get for children. And it's like a word processor, and that's all it does. You only can write on it. So you're limiting the amount of distraction. But if you have to use the computer that you use for other things, then make sure everything's shut down. Even turn off the internet and don't do research when you're halfway through the paragraph. Just put a little note in the Scrivener comments or in the comments to say, research this later, and keep writing. And so turning off the internet, there's actually some apps you can get in Chrome and Firefox and Internet Explorer and Safari, where you can press a button and it literally shuts down the internet for a time, for 20 minutes or something, and it'll only open back up. I know Sarah
Pimbra uses those. And she swears by them. It's they just shut everything off, because if you have that impulse to check stuff, or if you do get notifications, because you will, especially if we've all got busy lives, we're all waiting for that phone call or that thing to happen, or someone to deliver this or bring that round. So you've got to be able to shut that off, even if it's just for a short while, and then you can give it your full proper attention. And I'm a complete hypocrite as I say this, because I'm the world's worst at it.
Well, we all are, Mark. That's the whole point. I mean, we're not trying to pretend that we're God's gift and we've got this sorted. The whole point is every single author, even the most successful authors, nobody can claim that they've sussed this out. Everyone gets distractions. Everyone's days go AWOL. Everyone wakes up some days going, I just can't be bothered today to write, or this story's rubbish. Pick your excuses.
You know, you were talking about that typewriter that's not connected to the internet. Ian Sainsbury shared a link on the BXP team, and it's called an Alpha Smart Neo.
That's the one.
And it's just basically a keyboard with a tiny little LCD screen where you can just tap away at the screen, and there's no distractions whatsoever. I mean, it's old school. It looks like an old calculator from the 80s.
Oh, it looks like something out of Amstrad in the 80s, doesn't it? Another thing I've been starting to use again is distraction-free writing tools. There's a ton of them. I love Write or Die, which is you set your word count for 200 and you can set the amount of time you want to get it done in as well. And if you don't keep typing, it starts to delete the words you've already written.
I can't do that. That's cruel.
It's absolutely brilliant. Or you can choose the rewards option, which is you get purring cat every time you're on track. And if you don't, the screen turns blood red. It's a lot of fun, and it actually works. But just make sure you copy and paste it, because I've actually lost work in it because you have to actually exit it in order for it to save the file, which I lost a day's work with, which wasn't great. But anyway, there's a lot of other tools. Blank Page is another one, and there's tons of them. We'll build a list for you guys.
Paul points out the Alpha Smarts have been discontinued, but you can buy used ones. Free Write have a couple of versions, but they can be quite expensive these days.
Yeah.
But you know,
they're kind of an iconic. Legendary type of device, but you can create the same thing by just literally unplugging your laptop from the internet, or using a laptop that is your writing laptop with no connection whatsoever. So you sit down and you know that you can't do anything, and that is, I do think it's the biggest distraction. It's harder to be a writer today. I think. I mean, think about Dickens. You think about Dickens or Shakespeare. What distractions did they have?
I went to see Little Women over Christmas, which is a fantastic film. Really, really good film. And it's one of the best depictions of a writer I've seen on film. And of course, she's writing in pen, in ink, but she's in her attic, and she's got the pages all laid out on the floor, but she essentially locks herself away to write. And it was really exciting watching her write. They made writing a spectator sport in a film. It's incredible. But it's that thing of they've always had to shut themselves away, but you're much more connectable and contactable now. Jack left a tip on the BXP team. Jack Logan, he says, I use words like currency. Coffee is 200 words. Lunch is 400. So you have to earn those things. Now that's discipline, Jack. I love that.
I love it. What would be a packet of hobnobs? Do you think?
that's a good day's writing, isn't it? That is.
That's hitting your week's target, surely.
Now this probably may never make the finished film if it ever gets made, but I have put a couple of chocolate hobnob gags in this horror film that I'm writing. So I hope if it ever gets made,
killer hobnobs.
If it ever gets made, I hope you'll all turn up just for that. So it'll probably get cut.
Oh,
the Americans
brilliant.
won't understand it.
Robin has said 2,000 words is one Tim Tam. Now, for you non-North Americans, you may not know what that is. One other thing that I want to share with you very quickly about, you talked about Little Women. My dear deceased wife, her favourite novel of all time was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and she read that book 200-300 times. Unbelievable. And when we had our last trip to England, we actually drove past a sign, one of those heritage signs,
Jane
that
Austen's
said Jane
house,
Austen's house. And we thought, what? We were on our way to Devon, and we did a U-turn, and we went and found this house. And in that house was, it was like set up like, the many years ago when she wrote, and you could see like how sparse the actual house was, but the beauty of it is that they actually had this table where she wrote all of her books, including Pride and Prejudice, and it was this round table. I don't know if you can. People, obviously, this is great for people listening on the podcast, but people on the video, it was about that big. It was one of these round little tables with 3 legs. You probably know the type of thing that you might put a plant pot on if you're lucky, or maybe the phone back in the day. And that's where she wrote. And I was in that room thinking, wow, when she went to write, that was it. She didn't have elastic bands to kind of build a ball with, or blue tack to make shapes with, or whatever. She just wrote. So I think this is a valid point, is we have to counter the challenge that we have today with all the
Darren James, who is in with us today on the live show, Darren James says, I'm related to Jane Austen. We have publishing royalty with us here. And then Darren adds,
we're not worthy.
Darren adds, shamefully, I haven't read any of her books though. Oh, Darren, come on, an audio book at least. Darren, is she available for interviews?
She's my seven. How would you say that, Mark? Times 7 aunt. Is that seventh aunt?
Right. Yeah.
Great aunt. Right.
Yeah.
Times
That's
7.
related. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
Fantastic.
What a great reveal. That's one of the best things we've ever had from a live audience member since we started the podcast.
And then on top of that, Sage says, my desktop got hit by lightning a while back, so I only have my laptop now. When I get the desktop back, my laptop will go back to being for writing and writing-related things. How did it get struck by light? Sage, what? How? What were you doing, sitting in the middle of a field with a desktop computer? They do it differently in South Africa, clearly.
Oh. Excellent. All right. Jack also says, like to add one more thing. Don't compare yourself to others. Yes. Hallelujah. Thank you. This is a big one. The reason why we haven't put up a league table for the BXP 2020 is because we don't want people to start thinking that this is a competition. There is no competition going on whatsoever. With NaNoWriMo, there is this kind of 50,000 that you have to hit, and it's kind of you're either in the club or you're not in the club. You're in the BXP 2020 club if you've written 200 words in a day, any day. If you write every day, brilliant. This is not about competition. The only person you're competing with is actually yourself, and what you're competing with is all of those stories that you've told yourself over the years that you can't do it, that you'll never be an author, that it'll never happen to you, that your stories aren't good enough, that you won't have the time, that you're past it, that you should have done it 20 years ago. No. The point is that there is no competition. You have to write your book to even get your book on Amazon. Right. And yes, you could then say, well, there's a degree of competition there because people have to make a choice. But, you've got to finish that book to even start that journey. And that's what this is about. So thank you, Jack, for reminding us all of that. He said, I've already seen people saying they did their 200 words in 10 minutes whilst jogging and juggling a dozen quail eggs. Great. Good for them. There are people that can write really fast. Even I could think that fast. My fingers would not be able to move quick enough to get them down. 200 words in 10 minutes equals 1,200 per hour, which means they could complete NaNoWriMo in a day. That's an interesting point. My 200 has taken me around 20 to 30 minutes, but yesterday it was 40 minutes. That's fine. It's not a race or a competition. Words are not a cheap thing. They come from inside you, and they mean something. The best words can stay with us forever, right? So Jack, great point. I think it's good to share how long it takes you. I'm very interested in that because it's kind of useful for us to know if it average takes people, but we think it's about 15 to 20 on average, but it's not a comparison. There's a thing about quality versus quantity, and if it takes longer, maybe you put more thought into it. But again, reminding ourselves that we're all into this to get in together, and the main point of the challenge is to do your 200 words and then encourage everyone else by telling them that you've done your 200 plus, and encouraging and supporting.
Quick update from Sage: the house was hit by lightning and the desktop sustained damage as a result. So we've cleared that up. Sage wasn't sitting on the roof with a lightning rod defying the lightning gods to strike her. It was just a lightning storm. So thanks for clearing it up, Sage. That's all cool. Liam says there's a great YouTube clip of Roald Dahl writing by hand in his back shed. That's a classic clip. I think we've put it on we've had it up on the group before, but I'll pop it up on the BXP group again. It's a really fun clip.
Absolutely. And so we've got loads of tips, but we want to hear from you folks. We've got loads of people now doing the BXP 2020 challenge. Everyone's learning different ways of doing it, and what we want to do is use this podcast as a way of sharing your successes, the things that the BXP 2020 challenge is changing in your writing life, things that it surprised you with. We've had a lot of people saying, this is a game changer. We're seeing lots of those stories happening. And we want to know your stories about how it's going, the challenges, obviously, because it is a challenge. And we also want to know your tips. So we really appreciate getting emails and posts from people that have some new ideas, because what we're doing really is putting together all of these different aspects of writing, which can help everyone. And again, it's like every single thing. Some people prefer the Chrome browser. Some people prefer Safari. It's different things for different people, but we want to share all of people's stories, because if one thing lands for one person in this podcast today, then we've done our job here. Usually a lot more than that happens based on the feedback we're getting. So do send us your tips. You can do that by coming to the website, bestsellerexperiment.com. And you can also, post on Facebook. Or one of the best places, honestly, join the BXP team, support us on Patreon, come to bestsellerexperiment.com/support and join the discussions on there, because that's where all the real intense kind of amazing sharing.
That's where the cool kids are.
That's where we often draw from. Well, it's where we often draw stuff from the podcast as well. So, it's great for us to have it all in one place. So come and join the BXP team. It is something phenomenal. Make that your gift to yourself this year.
Absolutely, yes. So drop us a line. We're on Facebook, Bestseller Experiment, Twitter @BestsellerXP, Instagram @BestsellerXP. Now, if you're listening to this and you want to get involved for next time, join us on Patreon. As we said, if you're for $10 a month, you're a chart topper. You get the deep dives, access to the BXP group, you get the episodes early, you get extra bonus stuff, and you get to submit to our one-page punch-ups, and there's going to be a couple of those coming up soon. We're thinking of doing a romance one, which could be fun, and we're thinking of doing a science fiction one again, science fiction fantasy one, because we've had a lot of entries along those lines. And you can come to these wonderful live shows, and we'll have another one of these coming around soon. So yes, and if you've enjoyed this show, please leave a review on your podcatcher of choice, although mostly it'll be on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe, rate and review, and always a big thanks to Dave and JD, our editors, for making us sound wonderful.
Fantastic. And just as a reminder, if you're inspired to start the BXP 2020 challenge, get on over to bxp2020.com. And if you're already signed up, our request to you is to tell your friends about it. Get people involved. You will be amazed at how many people that have your friend group want to be writers. Tell them what this is about, because this is opening the door, just like it has for Claire, Mark's wife. It's opening the door to people who've never had the excuse or the reason to write before. And we're seeing, was it Jeff has got his one of our BXP team says he signed his 2 children up for the challenge, 6 and 9 years of age. And his 6-year-old has just banked over 1,200 words in the first week. Now, if Jeff's 6-year-old can do it, so can we. So please inspire everyone out there. Tell the world about this, because ultimately, we want to get the world writing. We want to be able to look back one day and say the BXP challenge engaged an incredibly huge number of people that started to write who maybe never would have thought of doing it. So be a part of that, be a part of the community challenge. Keep on banking your words. Come to the word bank every day and register your words, and we'll update you weekly on the total as well. So stay tuned.
Perhaps more importantly, if you are doing this, tell your friends. Tell your writer friends, but also just tell your friends, because I guarantee there'll be someone like Claire out there who's kind of thinking, well, I've never had the time, blah, blah. Tell your friends, tell everyone you know, stop strangers in the street, tell small babies, children's, teachers, anyone you come across, people at your church, your youth group or whatever, tell them all, spread the word. I mean, the social media's gone crazy, but we want it to go completely bonkers to the point where we just can't cope anymore. That would make us very happy.
Yeah, we want a scrolling stream of tweets. And in fact, just to give you an idea, folks, we need another, to hit that billion based on our current rate, we need another 4,059 people to sign up, which is very, very doable. So who could you ask this week? Who could you tell them about the challenge? And let's see if we can get those extra 4,000 people signed up maybe in the next month or 2.
That would be nice.
Awesome. And then who knows where it could go from here.
Yeah, well, and
that's the bit I'm excited about.
Normal service will continue. Of course, we've got some amazing guests coming out. We've got Caroline Mitchell next week. We've got LJ Ross the week after that. We've got Steph Green, B.A. Paris. We've got Mel Sharratt coming on the show. All sorts of incredible best-selling authors who are going to inspire you when you're doing those 200 words. So keep listening, tell your friends, and stay in school, kids.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone for joining us in the live green room today. It's been an absolute pleasure, a massive crowd. We appreciate all of your amazing contributions and the fun and games that you're having whilst we're trying to record this podcast. It's so distracting. All this, just these jokes and laughter. It's quite a community here, folks. So thank you so much for being a part of it, because it would not be this without you. And we, Mark and I, absolutely appreciate every single one of you. We appreciate every message you send us. We do read everyone. So until next week, folks, until we can share more success stories of the BXP 2020, it's a goodbye from Mark.
Goodbye from Mark too. Goodbye.
Goodbye.